racing for the top step. At the opener in Spain, two-time Austrian national champion, strong engine, strong mindset, Clara Sommer. Coming up next, representing Italy, watch out for this, bib number 156, Sandra Mayova. Racing for Lee Coogan Basso Factory, two times last year winner at the Hero Dolomites. This is Sandra Meyerhofer, 156. And coming up next from Bosnia-Herzegovina, bid number 155, Leila Nurcevic. Here she goes. Sixth at the opener, second Capoliveri last year, and Bosnia's marathon queen, Leila Nemcevic. And it's not over, that's Paula Goretzka-Kurman, 154, her bib number 4 at the opener, winner at the La Tramon last season, and Dolomites Hero podium. When it turns into a fight, she strives. Here she goes, Paula Goretzka. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Spain, Extremadura Copilas, Natalia Fischer, 152. Now, ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, here she goes from Switzerland, winner of the Opener 2026, Anna Weimer. All right, KTM Spada powered by Brenta Bikes. Here they go.
Fantastic race in the first round in Calpe. She just literally rode off from everybody in the first few kilometers. A very, very unusual, super strong. It's not normally the case that somebody rides straight from the gun, but they that was almost exactly what happened in the first round. Nemčević looking very happy. There is a very good camaraderie within the group. Here, let's have a rundown. This is the start list. Anna Weinbier, Natalia Fischer, Paula Goreka-Kerman of Poland, Lena Nemčević, and then Sandra Meyerhofer, the Austrian champion Clara Zormner in there. Chelsea Bolton of the United States, 170, going very well. She went very, very well in the last round. And great to see a US jersey out on these courses. Other riders who might do quite well. Anita Poletta, look out for her. This is a race that can throw up the odd rider that you're not quite sure is going to be there. They'll be there or thereabouts within the top 20 of the World Cup standings, but you wouldn't perhaps expect them to see on the front. But that is the way it happens here. If you get a really good slot going into the single track, then and you've got the legs, then you can make a big amount of time over people. We'll be bringing you live coverage after these recaps of the starts. And as you can see, pretty early on, Anna Weinbier here riding for KTM, but in the leader's jersey, and they're already sort of like playing around, making sure that the one person is got the legs over the other. That's a nice aerial map, just zooming in on Capoliveri off the coast of Italy, and just look at this course. Absolutely brilliant switchback after switchback after switchback, running around the crown of the island and then down towards the coast through the tech zone at Inamorata Beach. I know that they've already been through there, Lena Nemčević and Anna Weinbier in our shots doing that. There's a bit of a clue as to why we've got so many tracks around this coast.
Die dann irgendwo in der Landschaft stehen. Mittlerweile hat sich dieses Business hier gelegt. Man ist mehr auf Tourismus und vor allem auch auf Sporttourismus aus.
Ja, okay.
Single track. Maybe running, it's a difficult balance for tyres here, whether you run a little bit harder for possibly a little bit more rigidity in some of these corners, or whether how low you go on those tyre settings to avoid any sort of flinty punctures. But personally, I think I'd probably run a little bit harder here, and I think that's what the majority are doing to try and get some speed up. Not that lower tyre pressures particularly increase rolling resistance, but in some cases there's also a case of how you feel, you know, whether you feel confident with something a little bit harder. Not too hard though, because the chances of washout on these corners are pretty high. Look at that, absolutely beautiful. If you want to come here and ride, there is a huge bike park that covers a lot of this ground where Capoliveri, the Capoliveri Hero race is taking place. Italy, unsurprisingly, forming the vast majority of the professional riders, or the elite riders, I should say. Start list over 50%, 54% of the elite riders are from Italy. Germany with 11.5%. Switzerland at 9.4%. France has 4% of the riders, and so does Spain. So those are the big players here. Proportionately, it's really interesting to see that there are riders, especially in the men's elites from Colombia and Belgium, that only make just over 1% of the elite riders, but they're right up there at the top. That is about as spectacular as you can get, isn't it? This is another thing that marks out Elba and Capoliveri, these black sand beaches. And they'll be very pleased that there isn't too much of a howling gale coming across there today. Just enough to keep you a little bit cool, give you some respite. The men's early running was from Gioeli de Cosmo running for Tapado Kenda. And Leonardo Paez also up in the top 3, as well as Jacob Derigoni, so 2 Italians and a Colombian. Early leader Stefano Goria from the Scott Racing team has just been tailed off a little bit at our last checkpoint. The riders who weren't featuring particularly highly, well, not doing very well at all early on in the time checks, are the big names you would have been thinking of: Andres Seewald and Wout Alleman, right the way down the field. I have to double check some of the live timing. But Alleman looking though he's way off the pace at the moment. One of the things you find on this particular course is that the signal breaks up quite a lot. It's difficult to keep up with exactly what's happening at the very front of the race, but here we are, a live timing as we suspected it is. Viale de Cosmo, head of Leonardo Peon and Jacob Derigoni, and then Stefano Goria, the early leader here at the race. Stefano Goria, well, he's done well to get back. He was tailed off. This is interesting for him. He's Goria in very good form. Look at the gap back to Andreas Seewald. It's just under a minute. Well, Alleman just under a minute as well. Then Jakob Hartmann, Stefano Garbes, and Jacopo Billy, all within 1 minute. Samuele Porro, and then we slip over into the minute plus. So there's a little bit of a gap between everybody. Yes, Goria, the early leader, doing really well. He won at Trentino, the mountain marathon race there just a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago in fact. He's in super form, and he was the early leader. He's been passed back again, and good to see him sort of hanging on there. Our current leader, De Cosmo, he's had 4 World Cup podiums in his career, once a national champion. He also was at Trentino last week, 20th overall, but did have a podium place in the Castro Legend Cup in Italy last month. Look how fast this single track is, really beautiful. I think on a course like this, it's just illustrative of how well 29ers have worked over the last few years. The rolling speed, the speed you can get up to race at is great. Once you're going, it's fantastic. If you've not got lots of obstacles to ride over, then they are, you know, so much faster to ride. Look at that. People of my mountain bike generation will just look at this and go, this is exactly what we love. Big open country, lots of switchbacks, lots of fire roads. In this case, mining roads. Cosmo leads them through. And those 4 riders looking in good shape, with sort of almost a minute over the really big favorites and the leader of the Marathon World Cup so far, Wout Alleman. Stefano Goria, 4th in that group, started 7th overall this morning. But Duelli de Cosmo 40th when he took off from the line this morning, 40th in the Cup. So he's having a terrific week. A couple of weeks, maybe just coming into form in the Trentino race. And Stefano Goria also in good shape. About a minute separating our leading riders in the men's from the leader of the Marathon World Cup overall, Wout Alleman, the Belgian. Remember, he's riding in the all red. Here we are at 36.5 kilometers. De Cosmo, Leonardo Payon, Derriconi, Goria, Samparesi, Fabio Rabensteiner. That's good. He's hung in there. Morelli Porro at 14th spot. A real mix for David Valero on the podium last time out, in the sort of early 20s. Eskil Evanson, 24th. Martin Stoshek, 27th there. Let's play out with our 4 leading riders in the men's. And things are chopping and changing a little bit. This would be a superb victory for Leonardo Paes if he was to be able to come out of this group. He's got some very, very good riders with him who are probably a little bit more suited to this sort of terrain. Well, Leonardo Paes, such a great rider, 7 times a winner at Hero Dolomites, and really, really favors the higher terrain, and just didn't go very well at all in Calpe. Certainly going well today. In fact, so little is it, I think, probably thought that Paes would suit this course, that I don't think the organisers even put him in the top 10. And they were thinking about briefings for various journalists.
Okay, I'm to the top 3.
There's just nowhere to go. Once you're locked into this single track, you've just got to hang on. If you've got the power and the fitness and your form is good here, once you've got the position, that's it. Passing places are very, very limited. If somebody's going to put the hammer down, they will do it on this sort of single track. If they have the legs, get out ahead, get there before you can, before anybody else really can get in there. Our leading group, Stefano Goria and De Cosmo. 3 Italians leading this race. Unsurprisingly, I think, because we're not very far off the coast of Spain here at Elba. Great following shots on his bike. Nicholas Fischer out on course for us today. Wout Alleman at 45 seconds back. And you will be able to see the live timings on the top left-hand side of your screen and see what the gap is between people. I can only see the last 2. There seems to be some sort of out box just being plugged over the top of my graphics. It's quite difficult to see. This is Paes. Technically, absolutely astounding as a rider. His ability to let the bike just do the hard work is astonishing at times. And one of the elder statesmen of mountain marathon, well into his 30s now. There are 3 leading riders, Cosmo, Rosa, and Goria, and Paes is chasing Wout Alleman. Winner of the first round. He's trying to close the gap. He's got 45 seconds, 20 seconds down from our leading group to Paes. And maybe this is just because, I mean, the two of the guys in front have had such a fantastic couple of weeks, especially De Cosmo. No, Goria, in fact, was the man who won at Trentino just a week ago. Difficult for the camera bikes to follow these guys as well. Doing well to keep two riders ahead of it in shot. Just little drop-offs, making life a little bit difficult for them. Our three leading riders pulling out extra time over Leonardo Paes, extra 5 seconds. And Wout Alleman now slipping back to 1 minute and 10 seconds. Remember, it's all about the points you can gather in this. So even if you're not going to be on the podium and everybody wants to win, Alleman won here last year. Terrific crowds going out. Here comes Paes, still chasing hard.
Second, Capoliveri going third, and here Colombia.
A former world champion, multiple winner of Sud Dolomites, and a big altitude trainer, the one everybody looks up to. If you want to be the rider in the high mountains, this is the man to look up to. I think he knows he's on a roll today. I think he knows he's in good shape. And he'll want to be, because the round after this is in Andorra, and that will suit him an awful lot more. Well, you can't slip, as they used to say. You can't slip a fat paper between those three, can you? There's Alleman. Wout Alleman being marked. Fabian Rabensteiner at the back there in the blue jersey, just hanging onto the wheels. Rosa leads. The two Topado riders just hanging in here. Stefano Goria is the rider in the white, really pushing hard. He's in super form at the moment. Looks like Misha Klotsky going through. Very, very steep, completely unrelenting this. You think you have a chance to recover a little bit whilst you're descending, but you've got to get a bit of a technical. Oh dear, oh dear. Once you've lost the momentum, it's hard work. Yeah, you think you've got time to recover on some of this single track downhill, but you've got to keep your wits about you, and it's mentally tiring to do so. Does he ship a chain here? Yes, he does. Yeah. Never easy. Just that doesn't happen very often these days, but once you've got the chain rammed down the back of things, it's a bit more difficult to get it going. Oro going through. Picca going through. Nice, look at that. British champions jersey. Di Cosmo hanging in here. Goria putting the pace up a little bit and finding difficulty. Wout Alleman just digging in. Fabian Rabensteiner just behind him. Cosmo, I think, struggling a little bit now. He's been there or thereabouts all the time. Stefano Guerrea. I'm not sure that's actually the right graphic there, because I think Di Cosmo is wearing jersey bib number 40 and was definitely in the third spot there. Wout Alleman now at 1 minute 13. He's got Gabaz and Rabensteiner with him. Gabaz in the yellow and orange jersey in the chasing group. Because this course is so fast, the gaps are not quite as big as you maybe see on the high mountains, but still 1 minute and 13 seconds back to Wout Alleman, quite a long way. Stewald nowhere to be seen. Other big names that are not really featuring at the moment: Marcin Stoszek in the 20s, Dario Certi not really even featuring yet. Eska Levenson-Lai, fourth in the first round, is way off the pace, and the man third on the podium last round, David Valero Serrano, is suffering as well, way back off the pace of even Wout Alleman. Andres Seewald will be most disappointed. The European champion, you saw him early on. This is Paez. Pushing. Nicholas Fischer with him on the e-bike. And hopefully we'll be able to throw to Nick at some point, just to get the feel of what's going on there. These riders are quite used to these camera bikes being there now. It's fantastic technology. It's amazing how things have come on. This is the sort of holy grail of mountain bike television coverage. Back in the day, it was always very difficult. If you remember putting in those, if you're old enough to remember putting in old VHS tapes of mountain bike events in the States and around Europe, it was a real edit together with multiple fixed cameras. But now all this footage is being relayed by 5G, and you're able to see how people are riding on the road, on the road and off-road. See how they're suffering. They get really immersed in the action, which is what everybody would always wanted to have done, but we just didn't have the technology until the last, well, even the last 2 or 3 years. It's come on in leaps and bounds. Nick Fischer then following Leonardo Paez, fourth. And really trying to hang in with riders who are way more suited, perhaps, to this sort of terrain and really on form.
Can you hear me?
Torriconi on the wheel of Stefano Guerrea. Guerrea in the white, Torriconi in the bluey purple behind, riding for Topado. It's a great ride by him. Torriconi 48th in the last round, hence the bib number. These two riders really riding into form in the middle of this year. Chasing group at 1:55. Paez at now at 1 minute and 10 seconds. De Cosmo just dropping off the pace. He's 25 seconds down, so it's down to these two riders now. And you have to ask, because I know Gori is in great form, having won at Trentino just last week on the Riva del Garda in Italy, but he's just been pushed there to do all the work. Dorigoni is quite happy to just sit on the wheel and let him do most of that. This is Monte Calamita. Brilliant, brilliant shot. Sorry about the breakup, but it's good to have the shots anyway. There are live timings on the left-hand side. The Allemann-Wabensteiner group, long way down, 155. Can't really see Allemann and Wabensteiner really doing much. They might pull back Leonardo Paes. Especially there's three of them there's Gavaz in there as well. So there's three of them in the group. And even off-road, you can work quite well together in a group. Dorigoni using his extensive road riding experience to just sit in behind Goria. It's ranked 49th in the world. There we are. Well, this is what they were saying. And the last checkpoint at 55, Goria ahead of De Cosmo and Dorigoni, so three Italians, but we've seen that De Cosmo has now been distanced. Paes, Allemann, Gabath, Grabensteiner, David Foccoli, good ride that, and also Jakob Hartmann, the German. But look at some of the bigger names. Toro, 256. Theo Rosa, who was there earlier, 324, must have had a technical issue. Eskil Evanson alive, fourth. Last time, 5 minutes, 21 seconds. Stosek, 6 minutes and 7. And Andres Sevold, second in the first round at 6 minutes and 11 seconds. I don't think any of those are really technical issues. It's just that they've been ridden off. The gaps are too regular for it to be a technical issue, I think. That was the rundown at 55 kilometers, but Goria working really hard at the front, and Dorigoni is the man, I think, who is really benefiting there at the moment. All he has to do is to keep Goria in his sight. Probably his best year off-road, Dorigoni, was 2024. He didn't have such a great year last year, not quite as good. And this year so far, well, it's been all right. He won the Castro Legend Cup last month, in the middle of last month. So he's been on reasonable form, 7th at Trentino last week. With these two riders currently in sort of top 10 form regardless, but Goria, of course, winner. As our World Cup leader, Allemann, in that red jersey of overall points leader. United De Cosmo, 20 seconds down on our leading two riders. Leonardo Paes has pulled 5 seconds or so back. And then 2 minutes down to the chase group. And Allemann will be attempting to not lose any more time. This is the big thing now. Not going to win the race, but he needs to keep maintaining points. He's okay at the moment. You won't know what the gaps are behind, but the riders who were challenging him in Calpe, Andres Seval, Valero, Eskil Evanson Lai, Samparisi and Stosek, they aren't featuring in the top 10 at all. They're miles behind. However, Stefano Goria started the race 7th overall and is doing his chances of moving up into the top 3. No harm whatsoever. Super, super course. Look at this. It's a shame that the breakup is just a little bit too much to see just how technical some of this stuff is. But magnificent countryside to be riding in. And you can come here, like so many of the European islands now, they're set up for mountain biking, they're set up for road riding as well. But here, the bike park is spectacular. It's all this sort of stuff. Brilliant. Oh, foot down, Rui, don't overcook it. He's trying as hard as he can. There's no doubt about that. Little pump down into the drop there. There have been riders in the past who love to get a bit of air just over those little jumps, but you know what? There's still a whole group of people who want to push that front end down and keep both wheels on the deck as much as possible. Cosmo, 20 seconds. No more time lost by Leonardo Paez. Stefano Garia here at the front, riding for Scott Racing. Garigoni in the jersey of Tortado. Still following Garia. He's got the bit between his teeth, that is for sure. For those of you who never experienced this sort of lightweight cross-country bike, they are the best part of what, 10,000 euros, and they are absolutely super light. Come to a point now where you do get that effective all-round suspension, and they're light enough to be great cross-country bikes. For many years, people stuck with hardtails just because it was too heavy to ride anything else. Bishop following Wout Alleman. Now, who's he caught there? Could be Rosa, I think. But look at the timings. There's 35 seconds back from Paez up to
Can you hear me?
the man in front of him, De Cosmo. Only 10 seconds now between De Cosmo and Leonardo Paez, so he's still riding brilliantly, Paez, but Wout Alleman losing a bit more time. Nice bit of bird song in the background. Just shows. It's Fabian Rabensteiner, isn't it? Yep, Rabensteiner on the wheel of Alleman. So Gervais has been distanced.
Okay.
Good ride by Rabensteiner.
I'm currently behind Wout Alleman. He is the leader of the series. Won in Alicante.
Just goes to show, as soon as you get within that sort of scrub,
he's a little bit
the wind
back.
is knocked off.
He is on
and
position 5
for a
or
rider,
6. But he really
you get this
gets stronger
open
and
sort
stronger
of spatial
as the race gets
feeling.
longer.
Suddenly you're
So I
suddenly
think maybe he
enclosed
can
within
move up a little bit
vegetation.
more.
The temperature goes
Maybe
up.
1 or 2 positions.
It's a completely different
But,
riding experience.
Yeah, as you can
And
see,
for some riders that's
to the
fine. Other
conditions,
riders it
it's like
sort of
super
throws
dry.
you. You've got to get used to
It's
this
warm,
sheltered
there's no wind. And the
situation
whole
where
race
there's
was like
no
super
cooling
fast,
breeze coming
especially
in,
the
suddenly the
first 20
temperature's
to
going up.
25 Ks was super fast.
The sounds and,
So the group already split it up
sights
into
around you are
first
completely different, and then you get back
kilometers.
into the open again.
That's why we have that situation now, and they really have to charge hard to get back to the
Wout
front.
Alleman, the Belgian rider who was really battling hard with Andres Seewald in the first round in Calpe. Seewald suffered a puncture with about 40 kilometers to go and just lost out. Alleman just swept past him, kept going. Interestingly, Seewald punctured only about half a kilometer, probably even less, from the technical zone, so was able to stop and sort things out, but the time loss was just too much. Rabensteiner goes past Allemann, wanting to force the pace on just a little bit. Allemann looking over his shoulder. I'm sure he'll be wanting to see where Gerbas is back from him. It's really about consistency in this cup. It's a long process. And Allemann will be a little bit disappointed, having won here last year, that he's not going to be on the podium again, but it's about managing to keep things all under control. Second in his national championships. A good career. Rabensteiner certainly was a bit more of a force a few years ago, maybe coming back into form. Maybe he's always been there or thereabouts, but 23, 24, 22, he was pretty much right up there. Really hasn't ridden at all this year. We haven't seen him in this country riding, so it's good. He did ride Cape Epic back in March, if I remember rightly, but if I can remember rightly, he didn't finish. But that's not surprising in the Cape Epic. He only had a couple of wins in 2025. One in Switzerland, one in Spain. 2 minutes 40 back to the Allemann group. As Stefano Ogaria leads them at the moment into the closing stages of this race here in Elba.
The Calpe, it has been a really great starting for the season, with the winning, and also last year you won here in Capoliveri, so everything tells that you are the number one, that everybody has to check it out what's happening.
Yeah, it's been a long time since Calpe already. Feels like half a year ago or something, but today I'm happy to be here again. And last year I won here, so I know that the course should suit me really well. And yeah, let's see. We had a super hard gravel race last week, so let's see if today my shape will be good or not, or if I'm recovered. But I hope so.
There are some athletes, some bikers that last weekend, biker coming from marathon, last weekend participated to Tracker, the gravel race. Do you think that there is something close environment, close thing between gravel races and marathon?
Yeah, it's super similar now because they also start to change the courses and they try to make them more technical, and it's for us it's much easier now to change from the one discipline to the other. So yeah, I like it a lot.
Could help gravel for the results of marathon?
Of course, yeah, because the races are quite long, and I think that over there you build quite a strong engine, and we still have some races in the Marathon World Cup to come that are quite long, and I think that these long gravel races will help me a lot for this.
Returning back to the today race, what do you expect? Also the podium?
Yeah, of course I hope to do the same result as last year, but I know that it will not always be possible, and the level is quite high. It's not a really long race, so I think that it will be really close together, everything. So it's difficult, but for myself, yeah, of course, I hope to win, especially after Calpe being the leader. Would be good to extend the gap a bit more in the overall, because this is a big goal for me this year. So yeah, that's my expectations, but let's see how the recovery is from last week.
Okay, grazie.
That's interesting. Interesting point about gravel becoming way more aligned with mountain marathon. Of course, the longest race at Tracker is over 500 kilometers, which is just amazing, really, isn't it? I have to say a big shout out, by the way, to my old colleague and friend from the Gralloch gravel race, Maddie Nutt, the British rider who actually won Tracker. 550 kilometer ride, and well done to Maddie, because I think it's been a long time coming, having a really massive win like the Tracker, and that's absolutely brilliant. Lots of differences in terms of mountain bike marathon and gravel as well. I mean, for a course like this, you can see what Wout Holleman is saying. If you're looking at Andorra or something like Giro Dolomites, it's totally different. It's obviously going to give you a lot of shape. It's going to give you a lot of stamina because the races are very long, but technically they're quite different if you're up in the high mountains. But for a race like this, yeah, it's all pretty good, and the crossover is quite a lot. A lot of gravel riders have come from a mountain bike background. Arrigoni and Garay in the lead group. De Cosmo still hanging in there, riding by himself. He was in that lead group. Leonardo Paredes also is in that leading four and has been dropped back.
February has been a pretty good races. Consider that it was at the end of the winter and probably in the middle of preparation or not. So what about of race of today here in Capoliveri?
Yeah, I think in general I was happy with the first race of the season. It was my first race for the season, so to be sixth in the first with the first race was for me very good. And of course after this did some more races, more duo races, but in general I think doing a race last weekend I got confident that I feel my condition is good, and I'm looking forward to do the race tomorrow.
You were there in Tracker, and it has been the first time for you in gravel race. And I mean, I read something. It has been a good result or not?
Yeah, it was my first gravel race ever. Didn't do a lot of time on the gravel bike before the race either. Of course, with the mountain bike background, it's a little bit easier in the descent, and you already have the skills compared maybe to the road cyclist doing gravel. But I didn't prepare a lot for doing 6-hour racing, and of course I felt really strong until maybe the last hour. But of course it's a little bit different than this kind of races we do normally in marathons. So of course it was really cool to try something new and to develop, maybe also do more gravel, and also to be faster maybe in this kind of races in marathon.
We will see. And so happy to returning back to mountain bike.
Yeah, actually, yeah, of course my mountain bike is my passion, and it will never be gravel or road will never be my passion. But I think in general that when I went home and back on the mountain bike, I felt home, and I'm really looking forward to go here and do the track testing and everything.
It's more comfortable for you.
It's in my body, more in my body. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
More gravelly talk. Cosmo only 10 seconds back on these riders. He's done well to try and close that gap again. So he's still hanging in there with the chance of not just top 3, but more than that. Gap back to Paredes from the leading group 155 and the chase group 240. So it's a fluctuating but slightly stable now situation. Garia doing most of the work on the front. Although, having said that, there's Derrigoni doing a pull, which is exactly what Garia will want to be seeing. He's swapped from road to mountain bike and back again. Derrigoni, who's always been riding for the Torpedo squad in one way or another. Started off with the Südtirol international team. and it's been Tapado Factory and Tapado Kenda, but always riding their bike. Correa in the Scott white jersey just behind him. 23 seconds back here on this graphic. We had 10 seconds back on the other one. Wout Alleman at 2:04. So there's sort of some discrepancy between what we've got at the top live timing and what we've got on that board. That at the last climbing check, the top bar is a sort of updated live timing as we go along. They will fluctuate, obviously, with climbing and descending. Both riders looking over their shoulders, right to their left-hand side, seeing where De Cosmo is. They really are in fantastic shape, these two. Riding at Trentino, which is a very different course to this. Again, nowhere near as rough and dusty. A magnificent single track type course this, and they're just pushing on. A little bit out the saddle for Derigoni. Wanting to stay on that wheel, never lose the wheel. As soon as you start losing somebody's back wheel, it just is the beginning of the end. Fighting back is much, much harder than just hanging in there. And even off-road, you're going to get a little bit of advantage hanging in behind the rider in front of you, being sheltered from the wind that you have to push through, the air you have to push through. And it may be that Jacob Dorioni is doing a lot of turns on the front just to push through that air, but although it's less pronounced on the off-road than it is on the road, it's still an advantage. This is a Cosmo. He, of course, has to do double the work. He's got to push through the air by himself, but he's also got to try and chase down those other two ahead of him. You won't know what the gap is between them. He can take an educated guess if he sees them through the plants, if he sees them down the track. But you really, really have to have a sort of huge amount of self-confidence. You can't let your head drop on a race like this if you start getting distance, because if you do, the time goes out so fast. And conversely, if you think you're still going reasonably well, you're in with a chance, you can push on and push on and push on until you catch sight of them again, and that will spur you on even further. Well, I understand from some viewers that you joined us a little bit later. The first 7 minutes was dead air, unfortunately. Sorry for the technical issues on that. Just to let you know, just to bring you up to speed with what had been happening in the men's race then. It was an early push by Andres Seval, the European champion, and Wout Alleman, the current leader of this Hero UCI Marathon World Cup. But it's been a story of some of the riders who are in super form, local riders, really, Italian riders, who have pushed really hard. The two riders you see on your screen from this aerial shot being followed by the bike, both top 10 in a mountain marathon race in the last week. Stefano Goria from Scott Racing, first at the Trentino marathon race just a week ago, just over a week ago. And the man with him is Jacob Derigoni, former road pro, 7th in the same race, and also won the Castro Legend Cup the previous month. Both Italian races. The third man on your screen there was also with them for a while, De Cosmo, Giocare De Cosmo, and he was another top 10 rider in Trentino last week. So the riders are really on form. The really interesting one for me is the man who's sort of sandwiched in the middle there, Leonardo Paez. He's the, as I've said before, the elder statesman of mountain marathon. He's really very well suited to high altitude racing, and he'll be looking forward to Andorra, which is the next round. And then Sud Tirol Dolomites, which he's won 7 times. So he does really, really well at altitude, but he's up there on something that has got no altitude or hardly any altitude. And that shows he's in really good form. The chasing group you can see in the top left-hand side of your screen at 2 minutes and 35 has Wout Alleman in it, the leader of the World Cup. He's with Fabian Rabensteiner, whose only real race this year has been Cape Epic, and he didn't finish that. So he's doing pretty well today. Alleman won this race last year. You heard an interview with him just a bit earlier. He's been doing tracker, he's been doing some gravel, this big crossover now. But that's really the state of play in the men's elite race. For those of you who missed the best part of 8 minutes from technical issues, and we apologize for that. We're also hoping to bring you some sort of live input from Nick Bishop, who was following Wout Alleman and Fabian Rabensteiner on the camera bike. Signal can be a bit up and down, as you can see. It breaks up, so actually Catherton could be a bit difficult. Maybe if Nick can hear me, or the gallery can hear me, and they can give him a shout when he's in range for being able to talk, and we'll throw to him. You can see how technical it is. This is not the best time to talk to camera bike people. I think in the last round we had somebody tip over on the camera bike because they were trying to do some talking. Magnificent riding territory, really, really fabulous. Look at that drop on the left-hand side there. I would say they are probably Corsican pines. Are they going through there? A real mixture of this Mediterranean pine forest structure and short scrub. Many of these tracks agricultural, many of them from the mining industry here in Elba, which has been such a big part of it. And you see a lot of aerial shots of mines. They're still extracting magnetite. But you get everything in this race because it just goes backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. You could come here and spend a month here riding and probably hardly ever cross the tracks you run before. 20 degrees temperature today for riders, and that's about right. That's pretty good. Although, as I said earlier, once you get into the very sheltered, scrubby single tracks, the temperature just shoots up, and that can take some people, by surprise. Then you get out onto this sort of terrain, you get a little bit of a cooling breeze, about 15 kilometers an hour. Nothing's going to rip your head off from the breeze, but just enough to keep your temperature under control, pushing on. Correa and D'Arigoni with a gap of 35 seconds over the Cosmo, it's pretty stable at the moment. Slipping a little bit more, 225 back to the Alleman Rabensteiner group, and I'm wondering whether the two of them can work together to pull back Paez. No chance of a podium for Paez or Alleman and Rabensteiner, unless something drastic goes wrong up ahead. And we've seen that. Andreas Seewald in the last round was leading at Calpe and had a puncture. Didn't hand the race win to Alleman, but certainly made it a lot easier for him. Big riders not featuring at all, or big riders from the last round not featuring at all. David Valero, Eskil Evanselai, Nicolas Sampresi, Martin Stosek. They're nowhere to be seen. Samuel Iparo, all way down the field. Go on, lad. Chase, chase, chase. He's not giving up, has he? Is Cosmo. Oh, he's going to make his way around a lot of traffic. He's trying to chase on. He knows he's probably still got something in his back pocket. But he also knows the two riders ahead of him pretty well. They're all Italian riders. They'll have ridden. They ride at a lot of the same races together. And if the two at the front just even ease up the very slightest to Cosmo, who's 35 seconds back, and we just saw him trying to get as aero as possible and go around traffic, he will eat up that gap. As it is, he's looking safe for a podium spot. Wearing the jersey number 40, way down the finishing order from Calpe. A lovely shot of the bay at Trappola. It's a beautiful island, Elba. Most Brits only really know it from the famous line that is attributed to Napoleon Bonaparte about his return to Europe for continuation of the Napoleonic War, where he gained heart and he gained his sort of courage back when he saw Elba. He said, he apparently said, "Able was I ere I saw Elba," which is a palindrome. If you spell it backwards as well as forwards, it's the same. Back out on course with Leonardo Paez. 2 minutes down now on the lead group, and only 30 seconds ahead of the chasing group of Fabian, or the chasing duo of Fabian Ramensteiner and Walt Allemann. Allemann will be particularly keen to close that gap if he can, because the rounds that are coming up are much more at altitude. Andorra's got a lot of some altitude, but there's a lower tier to that race as well, a lower area that we're in. But certainly at the Dolomites, it's very high. And this man in particular will be able to gain more points in the overall cup than possibly Allemann. Allemann might find it a bit more difficult to stick with him. He knows the danger this man can pose. Technically wonderful to watch, Leonardo Paez. But if Allemann and Ramensteiner can work together to take that 30 seconds back, to get back onto his back wheel, and maybe even pass him and get another spot in the last 5 kilometers or so, then that means he's got less work to do in the next rounds. He'll build himself a little bit more point buffer. What those tyres are doing now, it's a particularly bad place to leave 3 tyres. It must be covering something sticking up, but right almost on the apex of that. I guess Paez may think that there will be riders trying to track him down, but remember, if you're just watching this for the first time, mountain marathon, there's no radio contact, there's no team instructors. You can get, when you go through a neutral section, you can get people shouting things at you about where things are, but just by the fact that Cosmo is looking over, I think this is the leading duo actually. Yeah, I think this is the 2 leading men, Dorigoni and Gorea. I think you can just see Gorea behind the motorbike just there. And Dorigoni trying to get a little bit of an advantage by taking as much time out of Gorea on this tarmac section. Dorigoni, of course, has a good road career, and that will help him in this descending. Goria has to be careful as well that, and as does the camera bike, that they don't get too close to each other. You can't do any drafting on that. Well, I'd love to give you the absolute timings on the top left-hand side, but as I say, unfortunately, there's a black box obscuring the top end of that, and I can only tell you the last ones. Stefano Gorea and Jacob Derigoni trading blows at the front as this is Capoliveri itself. Beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely lovely. And the start and finish this time around is in the center of town, which is something that just hasn't been before. Oh, well, he's taking back the time by the look of it. Goria managing to hold the pace of Derigoni. And the two of them locked together once again. This hard going over this sort of surface into the outskirts of towns. There's often these big flagstoned areas. Two of them just knocking off the pace a little bit. Derigoni, I think, just looking over his shoulder going, well, you know what, I'll give it a go there. This is Giulli De Cosmo. 40 seconds back on the two leading riders. We saw him enter the tarmac stage and just try and give it as much as he possibly could. Everybody wants to use that smooth surface to as much to their advantage, and they're almost within sniffing distance of the finish. This is De Cosmo. You could see that he was right up there in the first third of the race and has lost time ever since. Now these two will be beginning to start looking at each other. 75 kilometers in
still
total.
In 30, 40 seconds. Now still forcing.
I think that might be Nicholas can hear in the background there. I don't know whether you can hear me. Nick, can you hear me? Nope. It is quite difficult communications out here. Amazing how the signal dropped in and out, but we've got really clear pictures. That's the main thing. As Goria sticks the hammer down as much as he can. It's not really that steep. It is steep, but that's just the angle of the camera. They're trying very, very hard indeed. These two approaching the finish, and the question is this going to be a sprint to the line? Well, it is going to be a sprint to the line, or who's going to take that advantage? The two of them are going to arrive together in Capoliveri. I would suggest that Derigoni probably has the better sprint. And he's just looking at Stefano Goria just to say, well, you know, it's down to us now. What are we going to do? We're here on the right-hand side in the white. Derigoni nearest to the camera in the Tapato blue, and there he goes. It looks to me as though he's given the start of the sprint a little bit early. Goria is going to have to try and get right on that wheel straight away. We saw that Derigoni is a little bit better on the tarmac. He has been sitting in for a lot of the time, and I think that's it. Goria is not going to catch it. He's not going to catch it. Decisive break. Decisive little kick. Running into the finish. He looked over. He saw that he was just sitting there looking at his front wheel and thought, right, I'm going to go. All that experience, years of experience on road riding as well, have just given him that little bit of an edge. Now Goria is going to have to really motor, and I don't think he's going to get within the back wheel and striking distance of these two. Here it comes to the finish. Jakob Derigoni grabs the Italian flag, takes first place here at Capoliveri. And Goria, Stefano Goria just pipped to the line. He did most of the work. And in the end, it was tactical. And you saw Jacob de Regoni just looking to his right, seeing what the form of his rival was, knowing that Goreas had a really, really good win in Trentino the week before when Derigoni himself was 7th. Here comes De Cosmo. Brave ride by De Cosmo, trying to keep the gap down over anybody chasing him. A good day for Tapado. Just 2 seconds separating Goria and Dorigoni, and there'll be an all-Italian lockout on the podium. Charlie De Cosmo takes 3rd spot, having been one of the real protagonists in the first third of the race. Well, a good day for Italy. And the question is, has Leonardo Paes managed to keep the gap over Wout Alleman, current leader of the Cup, or at least until this time?
is speaking Italian.
The man who's going to gain most from today, other than the winner, of course, is going to be Stefano Goria. Goria, who started 7th with a bib number 7 today. Will gain a few more points and just push himself up the rankings here in the Cup. Nice shot. Lovely shot. Jacob de Regoni, a very happy man, as is De Cosmo. And a great result for the Tapado Kender FSA squad. 1st and 3rd, with Scott, represented by Stefano Goria, sandwiched in between the two of them. And you just had to think that it was going to come down like that in the end, didn't you? Because you could see Derigoni looking over at him. He tried already once to get away, and he'd seen that Goria had a little bit of trouble keeping with him on the tarmac. This is Wout Alleman. Alleman, the Marathon World Cup leader going into this round, with Fabian Rabensteiner with him. We haven't seen Leonardo Paes coming over the line, and they must have suffered something, because he is not in that 4th spot that we'd seen him in before. And there he is. There he is, Leonardo Paes. And in fact, what we speculated might exactly might happen is that he was caught. A great ride by Hartmann of Germany as well. So Rabensteiner, Hartmann, and Wout Alleman, they all passed Leonardo Paes. So Paes in the top 10, 7th spot, but at the end, just not being able to keep up that sort of pace here. And I think Wout Alleman will be very happy that he managed to catch and pass him, for sure.
Gli applausi ad andare a completare questa top 10, lui è Capoliveri, seguito da
Stefano Capaz, who was
grande Davide Foccoli,
with the Rabensteiner and Wout Alleman group.
Andrea Cipriani.
Andrea Safiri, 4 minutes and 47 seconds in that champions jersey. There's David Valero, 5 minutes and 7 seconds back. Similarly, Porro at 5:07. Two of them coming in together. Some of the big rider names from the first round. Tim Sminge from the Netherlands. That's a great ride. What a beautiful aspect to have a race in. And you get everything in this, don't you? Absolutely everything. The win then for Jacob de Regoni, 7th in Trentino last week. Ups his game to finish first today at the second round of this Hero UCI Marathon World Cup in Capoliveri in the province of Livorno. Stefano Goria taking second spot, Giulio De Cosmo in third. So Tapado having 2 riders on the podium, Scott having 1, and there they are. There's the money shot, isn't it? As riders continue to sort of dribble in. Hard work today, very fast riding. And you could tell in that last 500 meters or so that this was going to be a sprint battle, and De Regoni was going to be the one who instigated it, just looking across, and then he'd already tested the legs on tarmac of the rider he was with, Goria. Magnificent race, super fit, and they're in super form. And top 10 last week in Trentino, and that's exactly what happened. You can see at the beginning of the start, Eskil Evensen was right up there. Andreas Seevold was there in the European Champions jersey, Wout Alleman at the front. All rolling out of Capoliveri. There is Seevold in the white and blue of the European champion. Very early on, just testing a few legs, but almost immediately it was the Italians that took control of it. And Giulio De Cosmo, who finished third on the podium, pushing the pace along. For a third of the race, he was the driving force. There is Andreas Seevold, way down the field by that time. And this is the final moments when Stefano Goria just out-sprinted by Jacob de Regoni. To throw the flag aside so he didn't crash into people. Can't blame him. Magnificent race. Really good, and that will really shift things around at the top. This first place for Regoni, second for Goria, and third for De Cosmo. While Alleman coming in fourth, he'll be pleased with that now. He'd like to win, but going into the higher rounds, he'll be pleased that he managed to overhaul Leonardo Paez. Capoliveri, Gerbers rounding up the top 10. David Valero, who finished so well in the first round, 14th today. Safidi in 12th spot, the Italian champion. And you can see the dominance of Italians in the top 20 riders. Excellent shot of some of the mining. This is the mining of Capoliveri. Still a big industry here, and it's provided a lot of the track that we've been riding on today in this race. With good conditions for the riders. Next round, of course, they will be going to Andorra. Completely different, and then off and to Dolomites. Natural and Andorra on the 31st of May, so they've got 2 or 3 weeks to get themselves together, and then Dolomites on the 13th of June. Then it is the Black Forest Ultra Bike Marathon in the end of July. So quite a gap between Dolomites and the Ultra Marathon. And then an even bigger gap up to the last round, which was the CLT Europe, the Traman CLT Europe. That's back on the Costa Brava. There's been quite a gap. Wout Alleman was saying that it felt like that, quite a gap between Hero Costa Blanca, which was in Calpe on the 21st of February, and this round here at Capoliveri. We're out on the trails with the women's race, and that looks like Anna Weinbeer. Fantastic overall overhead shots. Big players in the women's race. I think people who are going to go well here. Weinbeer will go well. Fischer will go well. Niemkiewicz will go well. I'm not sure whether Sandra Meyerhofer has got the form for this. But certainly Weinbeer came into this leading the championship, and there she is in the red jersey, riding all by herself and looking super calm and collected, and the live timings will come up to give you an indication of where the main protagonists are in this field. Niemkiewicz, I think, is liable to be up there. She still suits this sort of course. There she is. Bosnia-Herzegovina is her jersey, and we're following it out on the single track.
Dawaj, dawaj, niewiele brakuje.
That is Gereka Kerman, Paula Gereka Kerman, the Polish rider. So it looks like they're all pretty much spread out as we've joined them live. We were focusing so much on the men's race. There's Sandra Meyerhofer, so she's hanging in there. We're looking back at what's been going on earlier in the women's race. And Anna Weinbeer has been riding ahead of just about everybody all the way through. There's Fischer, the Spanish champion, riding with Gereka Kerman, and Lady Niemkiewicz has been there or thereabouts with these two at the last checkpoint. She was just off the back of Fischer. Gereka Kerman seems to have sort of eaten up some of the gap. Maybe she was just keeping her powder dry. She was lying at the last checkpoint that we had for the women's race at 100 and the lead rider Anna Weinbeer had a gap of nearly 3 minutes over Fischer, and then Niemkiewicz, Gereka Kerman, and Chiara Gualanda of Italy. So as opposed to the men's race, which was pretty much all Italian dominated, you can see there's a big spread of nations here. There we are, some confirmation. Anna Weinbeer, 2 minutes and 1 second ahead of Niemkiewicz. A 40-second gap between Niemkiewicz and Gereka Kerman. And we've seen the Greco-Romans riding with Fischer, Natalia Fischer, the Spaniard. There she is stuck by herself, Nemkovic. Good ride by her, though. She just knows she's got to hang in there. But once again, it's been the Swiss rider, Anna Weinbier, current leader of the World Cup, has just ridden off, left everybody behind. After Gerke Kerman, there is a raft of Italian riders, Sandra Meyerhofer being the first of those on the current standings. You can see from those flags, I mean, there's a breeze, but it's not huge, and just enough to keep you cool, but not to sort of blast you. That sort of wind, it's the big enemy of every rider, more so on the road. The biggest enemy of riders is not gradient. It's not necessarily overall fatigue. It's wind. It plays such a huge part in slowing you down and putting you off. And Anna Weinbier, great crowd out. Just looking so comfortable.
Kan er niks se. Hey Anna, hey Anna.
Some very, very steep ramps here in Elba. Right down on, I think, the largest sprocket there. And the KTM rider wearing 151 and the overall leader's jersey, the red jersey. She's doing exactly what she did in the first round. What a year she's having so far. She's in to maintain form at this level from February through to May is something pretty special. Designated zones where you can take on water, you can take on whatever fluids you're taking on. There's also dedicated tech zones here. Like every mountain bike race, if you have a technical, if something happens and you're out on the course, then it's up to you to fix it. Or you can get your bike to a neutral tech area, which are dotted around the course, and then they have a limited number of supplies for you to be able to change things and fix things. That's one of the great joys of mountain biking for me, mountain bike racing, is that you are self-supporting in that respect. You do have to make sure that you've got the right kit, your bike's really well set up, you can't mess about, and that you are technically competent to deal with those things when they happen. It's no good you're having a puncture or something snapping and you just stand there looking at your bike going, well, what do I do? Of course, if something major goes wrong, that may be the end of your race. You might just stand there because there's no way of doing anything else. But it is fantastic that we still have racing where you just have to look after yourself. And once again, you can see just how much more closed in and quiet, and it will be hot, these climbs. Although it's only 20 degrees ambient temperature. There's not much overall canopy shade here. So if you're riding through a forest, you'll know this if you ride in most of Northern Europe or riding in the UK. When you ride through a forest and you've got canopy around you, you've got trees with a canopy above you, the temperature underneath is about 3 degrees or more less than outside. Here, with this sort of open scrub and what looks like Corsican pine to me next to you, there's no real dense canopy. So as soon as you go through here, it may be sheltered from the wind, but the sun's still beating down, and as you can see with Anna here. So the temperature really does go up, and these climbs can be, if you're not in such great shape, these climbs can be torturous.
You, how did your race go today? It was so close.
Yeah, today there was no tactic. The race was really fast from the start on, and we had a really strong team performance. Fabian Ramsteiner, who won in the past here, attacked straight from the beginning, and so the race was really fast. And then half in the race, Joelle de Cosmo attacked, and there was only 4 riders, and me and Joe. We was 2 teammates, and that's really important. And on the Muro della Leggenda, Goria attacked, and the race exploded completely. We was only in 2 in the front, and then in the final, I attacked on the last climb, a few hundred meters from the finish, and could manage to win this race.
So what does it mean? It's your first win in this Hero UCI World Cup. What does it mean for you?
Yeah, so many hours of training and preparing everything. That's incredible to win after so much hard work for me. But I think that will be the same for every other athlete. And so up to now, I'm only enjoying this moment. And I'm happy and it's speechless.
You want to dedicate this win to somebody?
Yeah, for sure. In this race, I will dedicate it to my teammates, Fabian and Joelle, because we race every time as a team, and that's the most important thing. But from the personal side, I would dedicate this victory to my girlfriend and my parents, and
Okay, thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Nice interview with our winner, Jacob Terregoni, who's had a terrific race. I mean, you could see the road experience in his demeanor towards the end, and great day for Tapado. Really great day. And he said, interestingly, that we ride as a team. Well, it doesn't obviously quite work the same way normally in mountain biking as it would do on the road. You can't get 4 or 5 riders together, or 2 or 3 riders together sharing a sort of workload on the road, but it certainly has its advantages in team tactics. Rabensteiner pushing hard at the beginning means that other riders from other teams have to try and pursue that, have to stay with him, especially if you really put him the hammer down, almost like a hair straight away. But Rabensteiner finishing very well himself. So great day for Tapado with De Cosmo in there as well. Conversely, really difficult for just a rider riding by themselves. So Correa just only one rider. He had to do everything he could himself. Anna Weinbeer, the leader in the women's race here, just ridden away from people. She was first. She's been first at every single checkpoint. It's worth just sort of thinking about her form in general. So far this year, I mean, she started her mountain bike racing season at Capoliveri and just rode away from people in the first round of the Marathon World Cup at Capoliveri to take that victory. And hence she's wearing that red jersey of the cup leader. But she took a 2nd place in the 4 Islands Epic in the middle of April, having had a real sort of layoff, not complete layoff, but having a little bit of top-level race time off for a couple of months. She's come back here to Italy. She won in Trentino. We were talking about that race just now with the men. So she won in Trentino just a week ago. So she's absolutely on super form. But let's just consider this. She actually carried that form for the whole of the winter season as well, as we watch. Fischer currently chasing in 2nd. But look at the time gap. 4 minutes down. But she's overhauled Niemkovic. I think Niemkovic will be fairly close by, but all the way down, look. All the way down, she's been behind Anna Weinbeer. Now beginning to possibly speed up, but nowhere near enough to take a podium victory. She will be wanting to stay on the podium, keep the World Cup points up, because anything can happen. Anna Weinbeer could suffer an injury. She could have something going on later in the season that just drops her form off. She may peak too early, but the reason I say that is, could she peak too early? I doubt it. Look at the results she had in the previous year, going back to Weinbeer. She had, in top-level races, 5 victories and a second place in the World Championships. She won 3 big races in France at the end of the season, September and October. So she won at La Forestière. She also won the Extreme Salut, and she was first at the Roc d'Azur as well, and carried that right the way through. Just a flick out the back there for Fischer. She carried that form through the winter season from Roc d'Azur in October through to Calpe in February, the end of February. So she's clearly in a class above her rivals at the moment, Anna Fischer. Anna Weinbeer. And there she is. Anybody who races at any level will know how difficult it is to maintain that level of performance. And that doesn't matter if you're finishing 15th every race or 50th every race. To maintain the standard, your best standard, through an entire winter, through a previous season, an entire winter, and then back into the next season is very, very difficult. But this lady, the Swiss rider Anna Weinbeer, is clearly in a class of her own, passing male riders. And will I think have Nick Fischer on the camera bike behind? Just look at the confirmation of times then. Weinbeer 3 minutes and 51 seconds ahead of Fischer, 4:32 ahead of Ninkovic, and 9 minutes ahead of Greta Kerman. All of these riders will gain points, and that's really, well, nice to see Chelsea Bolton in there in a top 10 spot, but 16 3/4 minutes down on the leader, which it's a huge gap. What you have to think about though is that you're amassing points for a World Cup, so every rider wants to do their best. It must be demoralizing if you're 4, 5, 10, 15 minutes behind the winner, if it's consistently like that and you know you're in good shape. But it's about amassing points. Your positions will reflect your points, not your time. Same course as the men's, 75 kilometers. The temperature up a little bit, getting to the top end of the 20, maybe a little bit more. Scooting out onto the road very shortly.
Yes.
And just in perfect control, Anna Weinbeer. Much closer in terms of riders chasing in the previous round at Calpe, but still the same position up the front. The Swiss rider just totally dominating. Trying to get a bit of a tuck in. Even if nobody's chasing you, it's nice to just sort of relax on those bars while you've got 20 seconds to do that. Not much room to do it here. Our apologies about any breakup. That big mass of rock on the right-hand side won't be helping. 8 minutes and 40 seconds down now to Greta Kerman. 4 minutes down to our second place rider, Fischer. One of the male riders going by, thumbs up. It's a pretty close-knit community, the Marathon World Cup community, the marathon scene. Mountain biking in general is it's very friendly, it's very relaxed, and as Walter Hollemann was saying, there's quite a big crossover now with gravel. Gravel biking is a good way of, as Allemann was saying, and also Escalay was saying exactly the same thing. You really, push your legs. You're doing some off-road. You're still trying to keep that off-road handling going, but the distances are long. The climbs are nothing like as technical or probably as steep sometimes as most of the time as it is here. I mean, you just don't get single track like this that we're watching Fischer going over in 99% of gravel races. But as in races on the road, the long ones that you do for stamina will really help you if you've got good bike handling skills already. The long stamina races will really help you. And that's what gravel's doing as a format. It's giving those long races at higher speeds, at higher tempo, which is why early in the days of gravel, time trialists in particular were very good at gravel racing, because you want to keep yourself going at 90% plus all the time, and the terrain allowed you to do that. So you get that extra fitness training, extra stamina training, as we're following Fischer, Natalia Fischer. The Spanish rider, riding for Echemadura Ecopilas, the champions jersey. Lying second overall, she was in the Mountain Marathon World Cup. Here's a good look at Lelia Nienkovic's stats compared to Fischer. She's lost out now, she's been overhauled. And Fischer is speeding up and this lady is slowing down. It's a very good graphic, that one, isn't it? You can see very, very effectively and very quickly how you're doing compared to other riders. The gap 4:30 from our lead rider Anna Weinbeer, who's riding into a solo victory ahead of Fischer, who is on your screen as she drops onto the road. We saw that shot from head on just now, but there's only 40 seconds between Niemkovic and her, and the question is, has Niemkovic got anything to bring back this rider? And I very much doubt it. I think we're going to be looking at this order now, unless there's a technical disaster or a total blow up by Fischer, and it doesn't look like it's going to be. 1, 2, 3 will be Weinbeer, just running out of your shot there. So smooth, so quick, so powerful, clearly so fit. Ahead of Natalia Fischer. So the 1-2 in the championships will be maintained, because that's how it finished in the previous round. And then Niemkovic will be in third spot. Her overall UCI ranking, Anna Weinbeer, is only in total number of races. She's as opposed to Fischer, who's 5th overall in the UCI's rankings. And that depends on how many races you're doing and how many points you're amassing. In the World Cup, which is what we're concerned with here, this woman is absolutely in a class of her own at the moment. Second in the World Championships in Valais last year in Switzerland, her home nation. When you think, in fact, of how well she's ridden over the last 12 to 18 months, it would have been, it would have been the icing on the cake, wouldn't it, if she'd have taken the World Championships in Valais. She would have been riding in a World Championship jersey in every race of the season, other than a leader's jersey like this, and that's just tremendous. It sort of puts you up to a sort of stratospheric level. Well, Niemkovic losing time still to, losing time from, should I say, Natalia Fischer. Fischer has taken more time over Niemkovic. Greg Kerman, the Polish rider, in 4th spot, would have to make up 2 minutes roughly on Niemkovic to get on the podium. It just depends on whether the Bosnia-Herzegovina rider Niemkovic has really completely blown, or whether she just throttled back going, you know, that's it, I can't do anything more. Coming into the final sections here then for our leader in this race, Anna Weinbeer. She just dominated the first round in Calpe. She's absolutely dominated this one here, the KTM rider. She's ridden from start to finish through every single checkpoint in first spot in this World Cup leaders red and black jersey. And nobody's been able to come close to her today. So she'll maintain her grip on the top of the World Cup. Magnificent riding by the Swiss rider. As I said, last year in big races, 5 big victories, the last one in October of last year, and she carried that form right the way through the winter until we got to Calpe back at the end of February and just rode off from everybody. What a superstar of riding. And the Swiss, I mean, they all knew how good she was, but I think sometimes, speaking to Swiss riders, they just shake their heads and go, this is just tremendous. What a superstar. The Swiss have always had really great riders, men and women. Possibly more so in the men's side, names that stretching right the way back to people like Thomas Frischnich in the late 80s, early 90s. But they've always had a tremendous tradition in mountain bike cross country and in marathon. Anna Weinbeer continuing that flag flying exercise. No technicals, no problems, and just a massive lead. I think she's knocked off the gas a little bit, Weinbeer. She doesn't need to go flat out because there's 30 seconds is coming down.
Okay, 1 minute. That's the last half. Take it easy, have fun. I have cramps. Don't think about cramps. Think about fun.
This is Fischer. Still charging. She's not going to reach Weinbeer, that's for sure.
5 seconds, the legs and cramps go away. Yeah. Relax.
Gives a little glance up. There's Anna Weinbeer over across a little bit of valley towards Capoliveri town centre on the right hand side of her now. This is where exactly there is where the little dig came from Erigoni. Looks like a strange graphic, that, doesn't it? Fischer currently second. She's definitely going to be second. But you never know what happens in mountain biking. Well, you never know what happens in any sport, do you? But mountain biking in particular, there could be some small little sharp flint waiting around the corner that will take 2 minutes out of her trying to fix it. And Lena Nimkovic in third spot at the moment, 2 minutes down on the Spanish rider, could suddenly sneak a second place on the podium, but you just never know. No lack of commitment or effort by either the Spanish rider or the rider from Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Sono Federico, dov'è che mi fermo?
And a big smile from Anna Weinbeer, the Swiss rider. Just no effort at all now to, you know, she doesn't have to worry about chasing people. She's just going to wheel her way to the finish. What an astonishingly dominant performance she's had in the opening 2 rounds of this Marathon World Cup, the UCI Hero Marathon World Cup. And Gerhard Vanzi, the organizer of the World Cup, must be just sort of grinning from ear to ear to have this class of rider, or class of riders in both the men and the women's elite, and all the leisure riders here to enjoy the same course as everybody else. But this is the win for Anna Weinbeer. Big smile on her face. Absolutely magnificent performance. 4 minutes separates her from the next rider who's going to come home. Natalia Fischer from Spain and Leila Niemkovic.
Is the winner of round 2, Anna Weinberg. Congratulations, congratulations, Glückwunsch, gratulation.
Big smile, grab the banner, do all the money shots now while you can.
And happy face, once again, facciamo sentire il nostro entusiasmo per la vincitrice, Anna Weinberg. Hey, hey,
and she has every right to look extremely happy. What a superstar.
What a day, what a day.
Are we going to get the shot underneath the banner? Yes, we are. We had this one last time. In super shape. She's a pleasure to watch to ride. I mean, she's not a flashy rider in any way, shape or form. She just lets the bike do what it wants to do. She's not all arms and legs. She's a very tidy rider, but very fast. It's deceptive, really. I mean, she looks like a sort of neat, tidy rider. There's not much wasted energy in her riding at all. You can't say that of all riders, actually. Some of them are all over the shop. Look way more spectacular, and it's just the way their style works for them. It's not necessarily any faster. It can look great on camera, but as far as Anna Weinberg goes, she's a very tidy rider. You have to have a certain mentality, don't you, to be a marathon mountain bike rider, especially at this sort of level when you are being, you're being thoroughly thumped by the person in front. And you just got to ride for yourself. There is no other way of riding. It's not like a road race where perhaps the lone break is often the exception to the rule. In this sort of sport, it's not really that uncommon to have people riding by themselves, and you've got to have a really tight, hard mindset to be able to do this for hours and hours and hours, which is what it is, at 80 to 90% of your full gas. Very easy to let your head go down, very easy to think, oh, I'll just knock off the gas a little bit. To keep it going is a particular mindset.
You're live now.
Nicholas Fischer on the camera bike. I don't know if you can hear me, Nick. We're not being able to hear you in the studio.
Just made the last really
here.
steep climb. That's the girl on second place. She was suffering, but I can see she really is enjoying the last few meters
Natalia
now.
Fischer. It's a shame we've not been able to throw to Nicholas this time around. It was fantastic in Calpe. We'll get that sorted out for the next round. But I think it's probably just a technical issue in terms of signal relay. It's a very, very difficult island, interestingly, to do that. There's lots of small rock faces and bits, and tree cover causes a lot of problems as well. It's actually easier to beam down shots from a big high mountain than it is to do something on an island like this. But the upsurge in technology to be able to produce shots like this with drones and with 5G relay of signals is just tremendous. We never had this up until Hero really pioneered this in the last few years. As I said before, it's been the holy grail of broadcasters to be able to do this out on the trails and bring you live shots, and just simply hasn't been possible till now. Nice pull focus from the bottom of the screen to Natalia Fischer. Happy to be in second spot as she was in Calpe, and maintains her second spot in the World Cup standings.
Natalia Fischer giving the best, the maximum until the end. Congratulations.
And she will know that you can't brood over the fact there's somebody faster than you. You do what you can do and you move on to the next day. And she's very, very happy with that spot. Another 4 minutes back to this lady here. This is Lelia Nemčević, tiny, tiny rider. She's been around the scene for quite a long time at this high level. Had some great victories, not quite at the same sort of level as other riders coming through above her, like Weinbeer, like Fischer. But you can never discount her. One of the sort of riders who just, certain courses are better for others. She's pretty good at the higher stuff as well. But you can see the difference between Nemčević and Weinbeer, just in their demeanour. She's coming into the outskirts of the town towards the finish. She knows she's got third in her back pocket, which is terrific, but just looking tired. Capoliveri in Elba, playing host to this second round of the UCI Hero Marathon World Cup. And another dominant victory for the Swiss rider Anna Weinbeer in the women's elite race. Next we move to the Naturland race in Andorra, different kettle of fish altogether. And it'll be interesting to see how Anna Weinbeer goes on those. I mean, she's proved herself that she can ride in all sorts of conditions. Third spot then for Lelia Nemčević. She's had it today. She's a tired lass.
Of the podium. Congratulations to Lelia Nemčević for this big performance, ladies and gentlemen.
Congratulations indeed. Yeah. Andorra next, end of this month, 31st of May, and then the big one, the one that started it all off in the Hero Series, and there's been such a beacon of, race organisation, complete from start to finish. It's probably, I've done a lot of races over the years, including the big Grand Tours and including lots of mountain bike races. I have to say that Hero Sud Dolomitis is probably the best organised race and festival that I've ever worked at. And they really, really have created this series out of nothing. Dedication, hard work. They worked for some time in the Middle East to try and promote mountain biking there. It had successes, but wasn't the same sort of thing. And they've now pulled together this World Cup on the European circuit, and it's just fantastic. A dedicated crew that have been there for a long, long time and capable of working together, not chopping and changing, gradually getting better. And they've managed to produce this sort of level of coverage, which is terrific. Looking back earlier in the race, Gereka Kerman, who will be fourth today, was in the black and yellow there. But Anna Weinbeer, what a dominant performance. I mean, truly, truly out of this world. 4 minutes of a gap over her nearest rival, Natalia Fischer. You can see Fischer's team hanging over the barrier at the end again. Oh, still a few minutes to wait then. This is Gereka Kerman. Fourth place today. Another good, solid result. Big, powerful, rangy rider. It always amazes me how they just look over their shoulders to see who else might be around. It's just sort of force of habit. You get used to it because you're never quite sure where you are in relation to everybody else. A significant gap on a course like this between first and fourth space of 8 minutes or so. It's a truly fast course all the time. And to get 8 minutes over somebody is some achievement. To get 4 minutes over a second place is some achievement. Much closer in the men's. And a good day for Topado in the men's race, with a first and third. Scott racing with Goria in the second spot. Absolutely beautiful countryside. I do wonder what will happen to these races going forward as the early spring gets hotter and hotter and it gets drier and drier. It'll be more interesting to see what sort of races are occurring. Look back at Greka Kerman's performance during this up. Good in the first half, falling away in the second half. I think speed playing a big part there. She's very good at sort of settling in and getting a rhythm going, Greka Kerman. But I think if you've got somebody riding just that little bit faster, the backwards and forwards pace of trying to catch them and keep with them sometimes doesn't suit her riding style. But the winner, Anna Weinbeer, clearly has a plan in this World Cup. Her style so far in this series has been to get stuck in early and just to ride and ride and ride and ride at her own pace, set a high pace and just ride people off a wheel, which is what she seems to be doing very successfully. And it's the most demoralizing thing in the world to see somebody ahead of you, like an Anna Weinbeer, where you think you've got a chance of staying with them and you just can't. You just simply can't. It's that half a kilometre, quarter of a kilometre faster, and quarter of a kilometre an hour, should I say, faster, and they'll just ride away, and there's no way you can stay there. And that is another turning point. Top riders are able to dig in at that point and go, well, I've just got to ride my own race. I've got to stay there and hope that I can take a little bit of time back on the descent maybe, or something might happen, or that the person ahead might start to flag, or they put too much energy in. It's a whole range of factors you can't let affect your ability to ride at whatever percentage you think you can ride at. Just a quick confirmation then of our top three riders. Finishers: Anna Weinbeer, 4 minutes, almost 4.5 minutes ahead of Fischer. 6 3/4 minutes ahead of Leila Nemkovic. 2:20 really the gap between second and third, so Nemkovic just slipping off a little bit further. And lots of the leisure riders finishing at this point. White number boards with the blue figures on it. And we're waiting the arrival of Greka Kerman from Poland, sticking with it in the first half and just losing ground in the second. And there she is, a fourth spot. And let's just see how far down she was. 13 minutes and 49 seconds in the end, behind Anna Weinbeer. And a big smile from somebody who's, she probably doesn't realize what the gap is, but or she might well have seen the gap coming over the line on the scoreboard, but that's a huge gap. And she's didn't get too much of a gap over the chasing riders either. It's Amanda Bolin. Amanda Bolin finishes. The Swedish rider, 14 minutes, nearly 15 minutes down, and then the Italian, Korea. So lots of riders will start coming in together now. And it all counts. If the World Cup is based on points, you've got to keep riding as hard as you can towards the end. Now, it doesn't look like they were knowing the time there. There's no timings to be seen. It's amazing people can have such big smiles, considering they've just actually put themselves through hell for the last few hours. Come on, you need to pull the focus to the rider on the floor. Well, riders will start to come over thick and fast now. I think, probably going to get an interview with Anna Weinbeer, or at least one of the podium riders. Well, thanks to those people on the ground doing that.
Second win, second race, second round. What are your feelings about today?
Oh, to be true, at the moment I don't have any words, because it's unbelievable. It was a very good race for me. The start was very fast, but at the top we weren't so much girls, and then I did my own. I could enjoy it. Yes, I love Elba. Yes.
Okay, besides competing, you had the moments to enjoy the landscape and stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Definitely, definitely. At the start not, but then I enjoy it too.
Okay, nice to hear. So 2 races, 2 wins. What is the future? What are your wishes for the future?
Oh, I hope the season will be long. I hope I can hold my shape and enjoy every race, and yes, enjoy the season.
It was looking very easily, everything, just watching from the outside, but there's a lot of work behind this easiness. Tell us about the work you're training.
Yes, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of discipline, but I think if you love what you do, it's easier. And I enjoy every training, and I gave my best every time.
Would you have expected before the season that the first 2 races are yours?
No, not really. I didn't know how are the girls and their shape. And it's always a little bit, oh, let's see. But yeah, I'm happy about, and it's okay.
Did you feel a little bit lonely there on top of the race?
No. It's always a challenge, and also for me, it could be a crash or something like that. You never know. The finish line is at the end, and so no, I enjoy it, and it's okay.
You stayed in focus.
Yes.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Gratulazioni. Okay.
Interesting. She mentioned about 6 or 7 of the things we were talking about staying focused and interesting. Weinbeer, the winner, Fischer second, Nemkevich third, Greco, Kerman, Bolin, and the Guerlandi round at the top 6. Interesting saying she had it after the start. She had enough time to look around and actually enjoy the race. That really shows her self-confidence. She knows how good she is in form. She can just sit there and be happy with that. There's the stats. Look at that. Green all the way across the board. Led at every checkpoint. And after that, it was the best of the rest, really. Terrific ride by Anna Weinbeer. But she did say, it's at the beginning of the season, you never know where you're going to be good. You don't know what anybody's going to be like. Can I carry my form? It's going to be a long season. We just mentioned that. It is a long season, and that's why racing for points is very, very important. Not giving up, and Fischer's done a good job today. Niemkiewicz has done herself no harm whatsoever. Beautiful, beautiful shot down on Capoliveri. And once again, a tremendous success here in Elba.
Ok, 2 veces segunda, 2 carreras en esta Copa del Mundo. ¿Qué tal dígame de su carrera?
La carrera muy dura, Ana ha puesto un ritmo muy fuerte del principio y nos
Well,
hemos quedado un grupo
the
atrás,
question was
que era la
second in today's
polaca,
race, second
Leia.
in the World
Leia
Cup.
también ha seguido por delante, la
What did you feel going
polaca,
in today?
Sandra, Claudia y otra chica. Y yo he puesto mi ritmo poco a
Well,
poco,
she said she had
sabía
a
que era
chance to
una
fight
carrera
for the
dura,
first
que había
place,
que
the principal
regularse,
place, but
y al final he
she
entrado
didn't
segunda con mucha
really know.
fuerza,
I
pero
got away
Capoliveri
early
es
on with
superduro
Sandra and
y me he sentido muy
Graca
bien, tanto el
Kerman.
principio como el final. Muy contenta de la segunda plaza, darle
I'm
enhorabuena a Ana
extremely
y a
happy
Leia
with
por
where I
ese tercer
finished. I'm
puesto, que
happy
ha
with
estado
my
luchando
result.
hasta el final, y a todas las competidoras, y de dar enhorabuena a la
Everything's
Aero.
extremely competitive. I was
She's
good
saying
coming into the
it is
final
a
part of
tough
the race,
race,
so
it's
she's
a
very
hard
happy.
race. She enjoyed it at the end. She had the power.
Well, there we
the
go.
force to arrive second. It was not easy at the beginning, but then kilometer after kilometer, she took her rhythm. She had the good energy, had good memories here, and she just is cheering with all the other girls performing well here in Capoliveri. Bueno, en 2 semanas vamos en tu casa,
That's
más o
excellent.
menos,
For those of you watching in English, getting an English
que es,
translation, terrific.
¿Cómo la ves esta carrera? ¿La has hecha en Naturlando? ¿Es nueva para vosotros?
Yeah, what are you going to do in Andorra? I think is going to be the question. We will get an answer. So, what will she do in Andorra? Well, she's a good all-round rider. Whether she thinks she's got enough for the hills, I don't know. It's a completely different kettle of fish now for the next 2 rounds, which is what makes it such a great championship.
Mi equipo me está ayudando mucho y dar las gracias a mi equipo y a todos mis patrocinadores y a toda la gente que me sigue y me apoya.
She's very happy about what is happening now. She's saying thank you to the team, to the sponsors, to the fans. She's happy about this season up to now. And concerning the next race of the World Cup, here World Cup in the Pyrenees in Andorra, she has never done it, but she has done other races there. It's a different race because it's higher up the mountain, so she's starting a special training in Sierra Nevada just the coming week to just prepare for this race. Buena suerte, muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias a vosotros siempre.
Okay, thank you so much.
Well, 54% of the riders in the elites came from Italy. It's just off the coast of Livorno, in the province of Livorno here in Elba. Much better day for the Italian men than the Italian women, with a lockout of the podium for the Italians.
Nemčević back on the podium of the Hero UCI World Cup. What are the feelings and what is the significance of this race today for you?
Yeah, I'm really happy to finally be feeling like myself again. I had some illness throughout the whole last year, couldn't absorb carbs, so I definitely feel I could have fought for the win, but yeah, the heat was really bothering me. I had some cramps in the last 15 kilometers, so I had to settle for third, but I'm really happy how I'm feeling, and I know this is only the start of the season, and I can get so much more in the next races.
So it was a difficult period, as you told us. How can you motivate yourself to come back after all of these obstacles?
Well, I know I am really good. I always feel like I'm the best, like I can win. I always feel like I can fight for the win. So I'm not lacking any motivation. I just need to be healthy, eating well, training well, and yeah, if everything aligns, then I'm on the podium for sure.
There was Anna Weinberg saying she could enjoy the landscape. What about you today?
Today not. It was a hard race, especially with the heat. But throughout many years and with the training, I really enjoy this scenery. And I was born in Italy, so this is like my second home.
Okay, your heart beats well here. So what are your expectations for the next rounds?
Definitely, I'm always aiming for the win. So I feel like a winner. I want to win. So this is my goal, and yeah, podium is really nice. I'm really satisfied with it, but I always go for the win.
Okay, good luck for you for the next races. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, no lack of confidence from Niemkiewicz. That's what you have to do. Yeah, again, we mentioned that you've got to be completely of a mindset. She did have a difficult season. It's not just been last season. She was not so great the previous season. She wasn't bad, but I mean, this season coming back saying, well, I feel like myself again. That's a big positive. She'll have a lot more confidence going into the next round and laying the gauntlet down, really, wasn't she? Saying, well, I can be on the podium. And before that saying, well, I'm the best, I can win this. And that's the way you have to think about it. It's been pretty good weather. Both rounds actually have had great weather. So just awaiting the podium for the men's and women's elite races here. Just looking back, start of the men's race. The big favourites up at the front straight away. André Sevel having a difficult day, the European champion. Alleman, the Belgian, having to work hard to maintain something in the top 5. But it was the day of the Italians with the De Cosmo here. Bit of air. And Goria and Derigoni taking the win for Italy. In the women's, it was a little bit different. The Italians didn't have it all their own way, for sure. But this lady here, Hannah Weinbeer, was the most extraordinary rider. Really dominating both rounds so far. Derigoni, the road pro turned mountain biker, and Anna Weinbeer taking the top spot for men's and women's, respectively. It's a big favourite with riders here at Elba. It's a beautiful island to ride. Here's the men's results then. Jacob Derigoni, 2 seconds ahead of Stefano Goria. Really did, however, comprehensively outsprint him in the last 250 metres or so, ahead of De Cosmo.
Okay, and now they're presenting the awards. Third position, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Leila Niemkiewicz. Congratulations. The
Good to see you back in
prize is
good form.
presented by Mr. Alessio Bellissimo, Sport Council.
A Capoliveri a godere, a vedere, a vivere questa magnifica esperienza.
Second.
Legend, uno spettacolo, 73 km e 2500 metri di livello che oggi tutti hanno davvero portato
Second position, Extremadura Copinas, representing Spain, Natalia Fischer. The prize is presented by Mr. Gabriele Rotellini, Councillor of the Municipality of Capoliveri and of the Tuscan Archipelago National Park.
Abbiamo dato i numeri, li diamo ancora, ovviamente bei numeri perché con i computer al giorno d'oggi, con il
The local areas really have got behind this World Cup. It's been a long process to try and bring people on board. Anybody who's ever had to work with local authorities and so forth knows how difficult it is. But here in Italy, of course, they just love their cycling. So all good.
Euro UCI Cross Country Marathon World Cup Grand Capoliveri Legend Cup. KTM Spada powered by Brenda Briggs, representing Switzerland. Congratulations! The prize is presented by Mr.
Wow, well done to Anna Weinbeer. What an amazing victory. She's in a class of her own at the moment, but watch out. Leila Niemkiewicz thinks she's back, thinks she can do something. She's coming back in form. It'll only take one problem in the high mountains for
now make some noise for the
rider
winner.
from Bosnia-Herzegovina to really challenge. But the first two places in the championship remain the same. They always try and have these races in the center of a town if they possibly can, because it just adds to such great atmosphere at a world-class event. Now, congratulations to our top three, Anna Weinbeer, Natalia Fischer and Leila Niemkiewicz, all looking super happy.
It's shower time. Attention.
That'll be some local sparkling brew. I'm glad they started saying this, actually. Attention, it'll be shower time, because these poor old cameramen at the front. You keep them back with the barriers, but it just wrecks
so
equipment.
please speed up in order to stay in the TV spots. Hey! Woo! Hey, 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 hey! Hey! Congratulations so much to the podium. Leila Niemkiewicz, Natalia Fischer, and the winner, Anna
Marathon World
Weinbeer.
Cup.
Okay.
Next off to Andorra, as I said.
And now, coming up next, thank you so much. We need one more.
Here's the results for the men then, just to remind you. Jacob Deragoni taking a sprint finish win over Stefano Goria. Not quite as close as it looks there, but still a sprint finish. Gioeli De Cosmo taking third spot, rounding out the podium for the Italians. 2 spots for the Taparo team and 1 for Scott. Wout Alleman thankfully getting a 4th spot for him. He'll want to boost his points. Look at Andres Sevold though, 27th overall. Today, not a good day. Martin Stoschek, 30th. So some of the big names, not quite so good. You can see Deragoni and Gorea just trading places a little bit, but always up there. De Cosmo did a lot of the work early on, but dropped off towards the end. Still got his 3rd spot there. And Wout Alleman pushing hard. Great result by Hartmann, Jakob Hartmann. Although he was fast early on, he just had to dig in, and good for Rabersteiner as well. The man who lost out in the end today was Leonardo Paez, who was looking like he could be on for a 4th position, but in the end was overhauled.
Jacob Deragoni, okay. And starting up with the 3rd position. Representing Italy, Gioeli De Cosmo. The award
good
is
to get to keep his 3rd spot place. Tremendous ride, did a lot of work early on, and then just suffered a little bit in the middle. Worked his way back up when he knew that he was going to be tailed off from the first 2. He couldn't stay with them, just got to dig in there.
Big day here in Capoliveri. Congratulations. And now, ladies and gentlemen, The second place, representing Italy, Stefano Goria. All right. The prize is presented by Mr. Gabriele Rotellini, Councillor of the Municipality of Capoliveri and
Stefano Goria, you have
National Park.
You have to take your hat off to him. He's had a great week. Riding in Trentino to the top step and just missing out today. But
Big for Stefano Goria.
At the end, in that last 250 to 400 meters, you could see Derigoni just a little bit more on it.
The second round of the Hero UCI Marathon World Cup, representing Italy, Jacob Derigoni. Congratulations. The prize is presented by Mr. Leonardo Cardelli, President of the City Council of Capoliveri, Elba. The cheering moment. The medal, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, an excellent win for Derigoni, using all his road skills. You can see him cycling out, picking him out, looking over towards him on that last 400 meters.
For the champion of today, Jacob Derigoni,
1, 2, 3 for Italy.
Italy. Congratulations. And now, ladies and gentlemen, in honor to the winner, Jacob Derigoni, we play the national anthem of Italy.
I love this national anthem. Great. Well done to Jacob.
The winner of today, Italy. Congratulations. And now, bubble time, ladies and gentlemen, directly from the podium of Capoliveri. Congratulations.
Well, another great race. This was a very close, very good race.
The podium complete from Italy.
Fabian Rabsteiner as well.
Day today.
Congratulations. Coming in the top 10 and making a lot of the early running.
One more picture.
Derigoni saying they ride as a team.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and clearly some tactics working out there, just whittling away at people, and that's been immensely successful for Tapado today. Well done to Derigoni.
Okay, big hands to this
Excellent
Italian podium with big Jacob Derigoni, the winner of the day. Second, Goria Stefano. Third, Gioele De Cosmo. Coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, we are having the presentation of the two leaders of
coming
the
up
ranking.
next in terms of rounds for the UCI Hero Marathon World Cup will be Natureland in Andorra.
Stay with us
at Saint-Julia-de-Lauria on the 31st of May. Wout Alleman, I think, will maintain his status at the top of the men's, but he's now under pressure with Anna Weinbeer really strengthening her grip on that. Then Hero Sud Dolomites on the 13th of June. Black Forest Ultra Mountain Bike Marathon the end of July, so a bit of a gap there. And then a big gap to the Trauman Sea Otter Europe on the 20th of September, rounding up.
Weinbeer, together with Wout Alleman, Belgium, the two leaders of the ranking.
So Alleman keeps his jersey, which is good.
Okay, make some noise. Anna Weinbeer, Wout Alleman, leader of the Hero UCI Cross Country Marathon World Cup ranking after 2 rounds. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Alleman a little bit more under pressure, as I say, was just riding for points in the end, and that's what you need to do. Anna Weinbeer, well, never in doubt that she was going to win after the first checkpoint, and she kept going away and going away and going away. But, as we've said so many times, it'll be a different ballgame in the next round in Andorra. And even more so in the Sud Tirol when we get to the Dolomites, because it's a different type of race altogether. Largely at altitude, and it's a lot harder to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and men. So one more time on the podium, having for the ladies, Anna Weinbeer, King of the
So thank you for joining us for Capoliveri, round 2 of the UCI Hero Marathon World Cup. I hope you've enjoyed the race. Congratulations to our 2 winners, Dragoni and Anna Weinbeer. I shall next see you for Hero Sud Dolomites in June. Until then, look after yourself. I've been David Reeve. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage. We'll see you soon.
By Mr. Gabriele Rotellini, Councillor of the Municipality of Capoliveri and of the Tuscan Archipelago National Park. Congratulations to the King of the Mountains here at the 2nd round of the Hero UCI Marathon World Cup. Big hands, congratulations, cheer up with the champions of today. So, once again, thank you so much for being with us, and see you again on round 3 in Andorra at the Pyrenees. But it's not over. It's not over. There's a lot of things going on. One more thing, ladies and gentlemen. At 3 o'clock, Piazza Matteotti, we are having the Master License and the Capoliveri Legend Cup Awards.
Is it all? We are finished.
Hallo, Gerlafingen.
Okay, the Masters
Good laughing and take
set
care
my
of
pace
us.
from the beginning, hard pace on the first climb, and also in the middle of the race. We were about 6 riders, 8 riders.
Okay, second place today in the second round. What about your race today? Okay, second place today in the second round. What about your race today?
Yeah, it was a really hard race. I tried to set my pace from the beginning, hard pace on the first climb, and also in the middle of the race. We were about 6 riders, 8 riders in the front, and it was a bit chaotic because really fast descent and steep climbs, short steep climbs. So I tried to stay in the front to set my pace. The other guys tried to do team tactics. So I was with the 2 Torpedo guys, Joel and Jacob, and I know that they are a bit faster than me on the short climbs and in the sprint. So I tried to do a hard pace, as hard as I could. But in the end, Jacob was a bit faster than me. So second today, it's obviously a really good result, but the win it was not so far. So happy, but a bit.
One laughing eye and one crying eye.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But you are the king of the mountain today. That's a good spot as well. What about that?
Yeah, it's incredible because I'm not a climber, a pure climber, but in the beginning I was in the front, and on the first part of the climbs, the other guys set a hard pace, and I was there. So I said I thought so try to make a good pace to the top, and to do hard pace for also the other guys. So I took the GPM. So I'm really happy about.
Congratulations! A wish for the future?
In 2 weeks we have the Italian Championships, so I'm in a good shape, and I think I hope for a good race, and after that we will be in the Andorra stage of the World Cup, and we are in the middle of the season, and the best races are here to come, so we are confident for the future races.
Ok, grazie tante, auguri
Grazie,
ancora,
ciao.
complimenti. Ciao. Ok, adesso abbiamo bisogno ancora. Due o tre domande a caldo. Ok. You give. Okay, it was a tough race today. You were in the leader group, then something happened. Tell us about this very important moments, because up to the last 10 kilometers you were still there going for it.
Yeah, today I want to make the race hard, and I was in the first group till, I don't know, like the last 10K, but I have a problem with the shock just after 10K, so at the beginning of the race I have to try to defend myself all the race, and so for me it was a bit hard in the last part because I lose a lot of energy for this mechanical problem. So the good things is that my mate Jack was on the front, and yeah, I can just stay, I don't know, 20 seconds on the back and just see what's happening in the front, and hoping that Jack can win the race. Jack won, so yeah, really happy for him, and yeah, one day will come also my time.
Okay, what did you learn from this race today?
But I don't know, I want to win one day, one World Cup, like I did last year, 2 times seconds. This year my first World Cup, third. So yeah, I don't know, I have to try to, I don't know, fight every race, and then one day, yeah, will come.
Is it normal for you as an athlete to have a technical problem, or is it just that you get pissed so really because, oh, what is happening to my setup?
But I don't know, the bike was new, so yeah, it was unlucky moments. But yeah, I have to manage also this type of situation because it's racing, and I have to go and yeah, to try to not think and just manage this. And I did it third, so yeah, I think I quite managed really well today.
Not too bad, 2-time on the podium.
Yeah, it's my third time on the podium.
This season?
This season, the first. Yeah. So yeah, well, also with my mate, well, it's really good.
Okay.
Happy day.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Complimenti ancora.
Thank you. Ciao.
Ciao. Okay.